Hello, receiving students and sixes.
Hello, Mr. Namari.
Thank you. Take your seat. Now, receiving students and sixes. In our previous lesson, what did we look at? Or what lesson topic did we look at? Receiving students and sixes. Receiving students, please tell your teacher what you looked at in your previous lesson. Let's have the model class. Okay, let's have our friend there.
Multiples.
Multiples. Good. Yes, in our previous lesson, we looked at multiples. Is that correct, receiving students and sixes?
Yes.
Yes, we looked at multiples. Now, receiving students and sixes, in our today's lesson, we will look at what is the lesson topic for today, students? Prime numbers and composite numbers. Now, before we differentiate prime numbers and composite numbers, receiving students and sixes, our lesson objective for today is to differentiate what are prime numbers and what are composite numbers. Now, to identify what are composite numbers and prime numbers, we will do an activity that will help us to really understand prime numbers and composite numbers. Now, receiving students and sixes, I'd like you to look at the whiteboard. I have a chart which has been pasted on the whiteboard. Now, sixes and receiving students. Here on the board, what chart do I have on the board, whiteboard here? A factor table chart. In our previous lesson, we looked at this factor table. Did we? Yes. Yes. Now, receiving students and sixes. From this factor table, you have seen that some of the factors or whole numbers have been identified, or we have identified some of the factors of the whole numbers in our previous lesson on factors. So what are the numbers that we have identified? 12, 6, 3. No, we have only identified factors. In your previous lesson on factors, you have identified the factors of 12, factors of 6, and factors of 3. Now, receiving students and sixes, I'd like you to find the factors of these three whole numbers, 10, 5, and 1. In your groups, use factor pillar to find the factors of these three whole numbers, 10, 5, and 1. Now, students, quickly get into your group and find the factors.
What was the last lesson?
Multiples. Students, it should.
What was the last lesson?
Multiples. Students, it should.
What was the last lesson?
Multiples. Students, it should.
What was the last lesson?
Multiples.
What was the last lesson?
Multiples. Now, students, are we done with the factors of the three whole numbers? Yes? Okay. Now, receiving students and sixes. On this factor table, I have drawn the factor pillar. Can you see the factor pillar drawn for the three whole numbers on the factor table? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, you can see the factor pillars drawn for each of the three whole numbers, 10, 5, and 1. Now, for factor pillar, for the whole number of 10, the factor pillar is incomplete. We will do it together as a class to complete this factor pillar. What is the other factor that you can multiply to get the whole number 10? What is another factor? One factor has been given, which is 1. 1 is a factor of 10. What is another factor of 10? Okay, let's hear from Shanti.
1 times 10.
Thank you. 1 times 10. Okay, the other factor, 5 has been given, the other is not given. 5 has been given and another one is not given. What is the other factor? Let's have one boy. Okay, our friend here. Where's the mic? 2 times 5. 2 times 5. So 2 is the factor that is missing on this factor pillar. Robert? Pass the mic. Robert is going to give us the second last one.
Two times 5.
Very good. 2 times 5. Let's have the last one from our friend. What's your name? BT.
10 times 1.
Okay, 10 times 1. Very good. So the factor that is missing is 10. So 10 times 1 is 10, which is 1 and 10 are factors of 10. Now let's go to the next whole number, 5. What are factors? This time, the numbers, you have to figure out the numbers or give the factors of 5. Yes, our friend here. Give me the first one.
1 times 5.
1 times 5. Very good. What's the next one? Okay, let's have our friend there.
5 times 1.
Very good. 5 times 1. Now, let's have the last one. Whole number 1. Okay, let's have our friend there.
1 times 1.
Very good. 1 times 1. Now, students, we have used factor pillar to find the factors of the three numbers, which are 10, 5, and 1. Now, receiving students and 6s. What are the factors of 10? From the factor pillar, try to identify what are the factors of 10. You have already found the factors. Now I would like you to give the factors of 10. Let's have our friend there. Give the factors of 10 in order.
1, 2, 5, 10.
Very good. 1, 2, 5, and 10. So students, the factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. Now, what about 5? What are the factors of 5? Okay, let's have our friend.
1, 5.
1, 5. 1 and 5. Is she correct? Yes. So students, the factors of 5 are 1 and 5. Now, the last number, 1. What are the factors of 1? Let's have our friend at the back there.
1.
1. Very good. Let's see if she is correct. Yes, our friend is correct. So students, now we have identified all the factors of the three numbers or three whole numbers, 10, 5, and 1. The factors of 10, 1, 2, 5, and 10, 5, 1, and 5, and factors of 1 is only 1. Now, looking at these three whole numbers, looking at all these whole numbers from 12 to 1, you will see that whole number 12 has how many factors? 6 factors. Whole number 6 has how many factors? 4. Whole number 3 has how many factors? 2. Now, how about whole number 5? How many factors will it have? Okay, let's have our friend here. Hurry up, quickly give us the total number of factors of 10.
4.
Very good, 4. You can see from this factor table, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 factors for whole number 10. How about 5? Now, this time, let's have our friend there.
2.
2. Yes, 2 is correct. 2 factors. You can see from the factor table, there are only 2 factors for whole number 5. Now, students, how about the last whole number, which is number 1? Class? 1. How many? 1. Now receiving students and 6s. Looking at the factor table, which is on the whiteboard, from these whole numbers here, from 12 to 1, how many whole numbers have 2 factors only? Look at the factor table and try to identify how many whole numbers have only 2 factors. 12 to 1. How many whole numbers has only 2 factors? Okay, let's have our friend here. Give the whole numbers that has, or how many whole numbers have 2 factors?
5 and 3.
Okay, 5, our friend says 5 and 3. I'm saying how many whole numbers? These are all the whole numbers here. How many whole numbers have 2 factors only? Our friend has said 5. So, how many whole numbers? How many? Okay, there are 2 whole numbers which have 2 factors only. From this factor table, you will see that there are 2 whole numbers which have 2 factors. And which are these numbers? What are these numbers? 5 and 3. Okay, you can see from this factor table here. Whole number 3 and whole number 5 has how many factors? 2 factors. Has 2 factors. Now, students, factors which have only 2 factors are called what? Are prime numbers. Factors which have 2 factors, whole numbers which have 2 factors are called prime numbers. Now let us look at which whole numbers have more than 2 factors. Give me the whole numbers which has more than 2 factors. Which whole numbers has more than 2 factors? Give me the whole numbers which have more than 2 factors. From the factor table. From 12, whole number 12 to 1.
12.
12, okay, 12 is one whole number which have more than 2 factors. What is the other one? Any more? 12. What else? Yes.
10.
10. Look at whole number 10. Does it have factors more than 2? Yes. 10 has how many factors? 4. So it is more than 2. 12 has more than 2 factors. So it is one of those factors which have more than 2 factors. Any more? Yes, let's have our friend here.
6.
Okay, 6. 6 is also another whole number which have more than 2 factors. So, any more numbers? Any more numbers from this factor table which have more than 2 factors? Okay, we have only 12. We have 12, 6, and 10. So, from this factor table, there are 3 whole numbers which have more than 2 factors. Now, students, factors which have whole numbers which have more than 2 factors are called composite numbers. Okay? Whole numbers which have more than 2 factors are called composite numbers. Now, from the factors chart, students, we have identified what are composite numbers and prime numbers. Now, let us go back to the factor table and complete the last column. Looking at these whole numbers here, identify which whole numbers are composite numbers and prime numbers. Let's start from whole number 12. Is whole number 12 a composite or prime number? Students? Why composite? Okay? Michael, you said composite? Okay. Tell the class why you said composite.
Because the whole number is more than 2.
Again?
Because the whole number is more than 2.
Okay? Michael says because the whole number is more than 2. He might be correct. He might be correct. But let's help Michael to... let's help Robert to say his answer properly, okay? Can anybody help Robert? Robert is correct. He meant something. He was trying to say something. But probably his wordings was not, you used the wrong words. Who's going to help Robert? Thank you, Robert. Who's willing to help Robert? Receiving students, please, from the factor table, identify whether the whole number 12 is a composite or a prime number. Okay, let's have our friend here.
Because it have more than 2 numbers.
Okay, whole number 12 has more than 2 numbers or have more than 2 factors. You can see from the factor table here. How many factors does whole number 12 has? 6 factors. So is it more than 2? Is it more than 2 factors? Yes. Therefore, whole number 12 is a composite number. Class C stands for composite. Now, let us look at whole number 6. 6, is it a composite or prime number? Look at the factors. Is it a composite or prime number? Yes, our friend here.
Composite number. Composite number.
Okay, very good. It is a composite number because it has more than 2 factors. How about 3? Yes?
Prime number.
Okay, you said, our friend said prime number. Can you tell us why you said prime number?
Because it has 2 factors and all the numbers have more than 2.
Okay, very good. Whole number 3 has 2 factors. And other number, it does not have more than 2 factors. Therefore, it is a prime number. How about 10? Is 10 a prime number or composite number? Composite or prime number? Students? Composite. It is a composite number because it has more than 2 factors. 5, is it a composite or prime number? Yes, our friend there.
Prime number.
Very good. It is a prime number. Now, receiving students and 6s. All prime numbers, if you look at all prime numbers have 2 factors. And the factors are 1 and itself. Look at whole number 3 and 5. You will see that all prime numbers, they have 1, factor 1 and the number itself. Like for example, 3. 1 and 3 itself. And 5, you can see 1 and itself. So, prime numbers are whole numbers which has 2 factors, that is 1 and itself. Are we clear, receiving students and 6s? Yes. Okay, composite numbers are whole numbers which have more than 2 factors. So, whole numbers which have more than 2 factors are known as composite numbers. Now, which number, whole number that we did not complete? 1. Now, what can you say about 1? Is 1 a prime number or composite number? Raise your hands up. Receiving students and 6s. Is 1 a prime number or composite number? Yes? Okay, let's have our friend here. Our friend will tell us her answer.
Prime number.
Okay, very good. Okay, Victoria. Victoria says prime number. Victoria, can you tell us why you said prime number? You have any reason? You might have a reason why you said prime number. Students, Victoria will tell us why she said prime numbers. You have any answer?
Because it has only one factor.
Okay, thank you. Take your seat. Thank you, Victoria, for your answer. Any more answers? Okay,
It's a composite number.
Okay, our friend says that it is a composite number. Please, can you tell the class and your friends why you said it is a composite number?
Because it's 1.
Because it's 1. Our friend says that because it's 1. Now, let us go back to the meaning of prime numbers. We said that from our factor, after identifying the prime numbers and composite numbers, we said that prime numbers are whole numbers which have one factor, two factors only. That is 1 and itself. And composite numbers, we said that whole numbers which have more than 2 factors. Now look at the whole number 1. How many factors does it have? Students? 1. So, can we say it is a prime number? I don't think so. Can we say it is a prime number? No. We cannot say it is a prime number because it has only one factor. It has only one factor. Can we say it is a composite number? Can we say it is a composite number? No, we cannot say it is a composite number because it does not have more than 2 factors. Therefore, whole number 1 is not a composite number, or it is not a prime number. But we can make whole number or call whole number a special number. It is a special number because it does not have more than 2 factors. It does not have 2 factors. Therefore, whole number 1 is a special number. It is not a prime number or it is not a composite number. It does not fall in either of a prime number or composite number. Receiving students and 6s. Are we clear with that? Yes. Okay, good. Now, students, before we sum up our today's lesson, our additional activity for today's lesson, receiving students and 6s, I would like you to list all the factors of those prime numbers given, whole numbers given, and identify whether they are prime numbers or composite numbers. So we have how many numbers given on the board, on the screen? 4 whole numbers, 2, 4, 7, and 8. So you need to find the factors of those numbers and identify whether they are prime or composite numbers. Now, receiving students and 6s. What is your understanding or what do you know about prime numbers? What are prime numbers? Students, what are prime numbers? Can someone tell me? Receiving student, please tell your teacher what prime numbers are. Let's have our friend there.
A prime number are all the number which has two factors, 1 and itself.
Very good. Receiving students and 60s. Prime numbers are whole numbers which have only two factors, 1 and itself. And composite numbers. Composite numbers. Class, can you read the meaning of composite numbers? Yes, let's have our friend there. What is composite numbers?
Composite numbers are all numbers which have more than two factors.
Very good. Students, composite numbers are whole numbers which have more than two factors. And the last summary point that we learned about is on 1. Receiving students and 60s. 1 is not a prime number, nor a composite number. So if you are thinking of identifying 1 as a prime number or composite number, you will never identify that. Now our key phrase for today's lesson is on class, prime and composite. Our next lesson topic is on common factors and highest common factors. HCF stands for highest common factors. So receiving students, that will be our next lesson topic. And materials, receiving teacher. For the next lesson, I'd like you to prepare an activity sheet, which is a Venn diagram. So get this ready for your class for the next lesson. Plus markers that is going to be used in this lesson on common factors and HCF. So receiving teachers, in our next lesson, you should have all these materials ready. With that, receiving students and 60s, thank you very much for your participation, and I'll see you in the next lesson.